Hey guys, welcome to your breathwork experience. I'm so glad that you're here. This is a really powerful modality and it offered me so many opportunities to own my truth, to come into the state of being that I know I want to feel like, or expand me way beyond even what I knew was possible. It's one of my greatest pleasures and passions to share this modality that we all have available to us, no matter what, all the time, with as many people as I can. Now, why am I here then? If we can all do this on our own, why am I here? The breathwork detox sessions are a little bit more powerful and it helps to have a coach with you. So this is like your personal training breathwork session. So I am here to guide you and motivate you as you are having your experience. And we'll get into more of what that is and more of what comes up and more of the resistance that you'll face in making this opportunity the most impactful for you. So, with that being said, there's all this possibility about what is here for you, but each session is different. So, just because you have one experience today, this session, it doesn't mean that it will be the same for you next time. However, sometimes we have themes, sometimes we have ways that we are different than other people, just like everything else in life. So, just know that you will have your own flavor, and that's okay. You aren't going to be doing it wrong. Everything that I'm saying to you is a suggestion for how you can hit the mark and what I tend to see, what is typical, and what it is that you need to know about it. So when you're experiencing it, you don't think that there's something wrong because there's a lot that will come up and it will help knowing all of this before you get into your session so that you don't withhold and miss the magic. So, as we begin, there are three parts to your session. We'll begin with a meditation where I will ground you down and bring you into your session, preparing you to make the most of the 30 minutes approximately. Most all of my playlists are right between 27 and 30 minutes long for a full detox session. So you'll have a meditation in, the active breathing, and then an integration out. The integration is probably the most important part. The integration is like Savasana in yoga. It is where you go to relax and let all the goodness that you just worked so hard to bring in to your life, to your body, to your experience, to your consciousness. It's when they all settle in and you get all the juicy downloads or the upgrading, whatever it is, you'll understand what I'm talking about after you complete your session. So, people have a tendency to hop up afterwards, meet me at the screen if you're doing a live session. Just lay there. Lay there, don't end it soon. I know what it's like to have all this motivation to go and do and text the people that you want to communicate with and act on everything that might have made itself known to you. But I am telling you, it is so important. You won't be that open to receiving all of this as soon as you start doing it. So stay there, stay open to receiving. Sometimes people even fall asleep during this time. Just know that that is deeply healing sleep. And if you fall asleep in your breathwork session itself, just know that your soul is like doing infinite amount of work. So I know that sounds weird. Again, you will understand it on the other side. So my main point is here, you're not going to be doing it wrong as long as you follow what I say, as long as you take into consideration all that you are going to have your own experience, right? That you're not doing it wrong. Even if you're not breathing as deeply or on my cue, hitting my mark, that's okay. I often record these when we're live and I'm watching somebody else breathing. As long as you're staying in your own rhythm that is matching the modality that I am going to show you, you're doing it right. So that's the three parts of your session. Now, there are three things that you have to break through in order to have your own breakthrough. So the first is physical. So when we're starting to do this modality of breathing, you'll feel a number of physical sensations. This is energy waking up in your body. It lives throughout our body in our energetic field. Energy is everything, and a lot of us are not used to thinking about this, but we know we have 72,000 naughty energy centers in our body. And when we don't keep this energy flowing, those centers become stagnant. They become our aches and our pains. Just like when we are experiencing emotions that are not expressed or moved or danced through in some way, they become stuck and they can hide out in our organs or our body, causing us pain or tension. The breath knows exactly where to go and bring movement to these stuck areas because it's not natural for us to have this sort of block or binder. So let the breath bring life back to whatever it is that is stuck or needs new life to get into flow. So if you're beginning to feel dizzy at the beginning, just know that's totally normal. That will be one of your first experiences if you are doing it right. Your eyes might start to twitter and twitch, and your nose, your eyes, your lips, your body might be vibrating, right? There is a story of it was actually Zendaya's dad got finished with his session and then started shaking the mat like, is this for real? Like, how's it plugged in? And it is just part of your body doing what it needs to do to get this energy out of its system. So it can vibrate, it can twitch, it can even start cramping. Some people's feet go like this. Some people's hands might get up and dance. My hands often are moving, playing in my energy field, right? Not always, but sometimes. So if your hands want to do something, just know that's okay. If your feet are moving, that's okay. And your hands might even do this crazy thing. You might want to do this with me. Take your hands, your phalanges, and just start bringing them down like this and this and this. And then they might even go into something like this, crab claws. You think, what? No way. Me? My hands are going to do that? It might go so far that they'll even go down to T-Rex arms. Just know that's totally normal. The more you begin doing this, sometimes I have some people who come to my regular in-person sessions who get this technique experience often, but not usually. What happens is at the beginning of your experience with breath work, you might start having that. And the more the energy has become in flow, you won't feel that. I never get tetany anymore. Now that I say, I almost didn't say never because now I know I'm going to get it, which is not a bad thing. It can be uncomfortable. It can feel like you're flexing this. Your thumb might hurt. All of your hands might hurt because it's flexing really hard. You can let that be a symbolism for what am I holding on to that I'm not ready to let go of, right? All of these things, if your mouth starts twitching, what am I not speaking into existence? If your eyes, what am I not willing to see? You can use everything that shows up in your body as a cue to explore what the meaning behind these things are, because often they're connected. So, whatever you're feeling, whatever you're thinking, my invitation is for you to keep going. That is the whole reason I am here to help coach you because we keep meeting ourselves at levels of resistance. Now, I've done a lot of damage to my gut eating gluten, not knowing I wasn't supposed to. My gut will sometimes feel new life and energy coming back to it. Often in here, in my sinuses, I'll feel a lot going on. Wherever you need it, your breath knows where to go and how to liberate these stuck emotions, energy in motion, the stuck energy, these beliefs that cause emotions, right? So that's the first thing to know, the first part of resistance, the first thing that you have to break through in order to have your breakthrough. So as you're getting dizzy, you might think, I'm going to pass out. Just know you're on the ground. If your mouth's so dry, like, I don't think I can keep doing this because we are going to be breathing with an open mouth. Just push past. It's almost the second that your mind tries to convince you that you can't do it and you do it anyway, that it goes away. This is how we create new neural pathways. Our body, our brain is meant to help us survive, and we have trained it, as well as our ancestors have trained it on what that is. But it's often way off, way, way off. If we've avoided something because we were resisting growth, now all of a sudden, on some subconscious level, we don't think it's safe for us. So we have to go there and tell our body, tell our brain that even though I know it's dizzy, even though I'm having a horribly dry mouth, I'm going to stay with it. Even though I'm feeling all these tingling sensations, I'm going to stay with it. Even though my hands hurt, I'm going to stay with it. And then you'll start to have a much bigger experience and bigger breakthrough on what's on the other side. If you try to avoid it, You're missing the magic, okay? So those are your physical sensations. The next thing that you need to break through is your probably one of the hardest mental. Like I just gave in a way into all those messages, right? I'm dizzy. I might pass out. I can't keep breathing with this. Or maybe you're somebody that's thinking, I've been breathing my whole life. I knew this wasn't going to do anything. What's happening? What's the big deal with breath work? And then all of a sudden, if you allow yourself to have the experience, you're in it, you're in the cosmos, you're getting downloads, you're talking to loved ones who have passed. This is all possible and all stuff that I hear from people all the time. So you have your physical sensations that create mental stories for you to tell yourself that can keep you from your breakthrough. And the last one is emotions. So as we're having these big experiences and our breath is finding places where we have stored these beliefs about the emotions, beliefs about ourselves, beliefs about our experience, they might come up. The only sin in breath work, as my mentor always taught me, is pushing something that was willing to be seen back down. To me, it's like pushing that small child that has something to tell you. Says, "Hey, can I tell you something?" And you say, "Not now. I'm working, not now. Go away." We're doing that to our inner child, to our inner self, to whatever it is that needs to be witnessed, felt, seen, expressed. So even if you get out of the breathing modality that I will show you, out of the pattern, that's okay. Get it all the way out and then come back to it. And just know this doesn't make you weak, right? Our ability to suppress emotions is actually pretty high. And in this state, it's weakened. So you might feel yourself laughing, you might feel yourself crying, you might feel yourself making guttural noises. You might feel like you need to yell. My invitation for you is to have given everybody in your house warning that you are doing this practice. So if they hear anything, that it's okay, or created the space for yourself to have the full expression of your experience. Close the doors, put the dog away, lock any animals that you have out of your area because you don't want them waking you up and sniffing your toes or your mouth or trying to see what's going on. And the other thing is that they're very sensitive to energy. So as you're releasing some energy, they could be picking it up. So go ahead and put your animals away, really create the space that you need to get the most out of your session. So now you have your mental, your physical, your emotional blocks that are going to try and prevent you from having your breakthrough. Now I'll show you what the breathing modality actually looks like. As I already stated, we're going to be doing it with our mouth open. So we're going to be bringing in as much oxygen as we possibly can. 99% of the time in life, you want to be breathing with your mouth closed. This is that 1% where you want to be bringing in as much oxygen as possible. You are changing your pH level. You are changing your physical state. You are going into something called transient hypofrontality, which is like runner's high. For any of you who have been runners and you get your creative downloads, I used to always say when I was a runner that it was like my filing system. It took all my worries and anxieties and stresses and knew how to file them away. After an injury, I wasn't able to run. My doctors told me I should never run anymore. I do still a little bit, but I tend to keep it under 3 miles if it's, unless it's a bigger experience every once in a great while. But I used to run 6 miles. I used to run for an hour, 10-minute miles, jog, maybe people call this. And that was my therapy. It really helped me. And it was years later that I found this modality that I needed to get my creative downloads, to do that filing system, to help keep me in alignment with being my best self. So you really want to bring in as much oxygen as possible. So I will remind you, possibly mouth open wider than you think throughout your session. Now, we are going to be bringing this oxygen deep into our belly, up to our chest, and letting it go. Most of us have stopped breathing into our belly, which sends a message to our nervous system that we are in a state of fight or flight. When we're only breathing up here, paradoxical breathing into the chest, and it gets shallower and shallower as we're holding our breath, dealing with all of life's stresses, we are not living in our fullness, our most juicy, relaxed, playful state, right? When we're in a down-regulated nervous system state, that's where we know that we are safe to stay and play. That's where the creative downloads come. So even though we are activating the sympathetic nervous system with this upregulated breath, we're going there to find the places where the trauma, the beliefs, the things were stuck and liberating them, right? So it's a interesting thing what happens here with the nervous system and what it takes to actually go back in there and do the healing. On my membership portal, you might also see tapping, and you might have already watched the video on how to prepare for that. But what makes tapping so efficient and so effective is that we are going straight into the problem. You have to address what the problem is in order to move through it. Just like buffalo, right? Buffalo see the storm coming and they run through it so that it is over faster. This is exactly what you're doing. You're heading into these places of discomfort so that you can open up to more of what is possible for you on the other side. Those are your breakthrough moments. So we want to be bringing that breath deep into our belly, which is the safe, the down regulating, right? The parasympathetic part of our nervous system that says that we're safe to stay and play. So you're up regulating, you're down regulating, you're bringing all this juicy goodness. But when we're not breathing up here and we're in that fight or flight, we are constantly looking for what is wrong around us. And it's not stuff we're conscious of. We're not conscious usually of the modulation of our breath. But if you think about a dog sleeping or holding a baby, they're breathing in and out of their belly. That's why we feel so good in their presence. Our nervous systems are co-regulating and they're coming into this place of stay and play, this place of rest and relaxation. But we can do this for ourselves as well. So I will show you quickly what this looks like. You'll be breathing deep into your belly, sticking it out as far as possible, bringing that same air then up to your chest and letting it out. Belly, chest, exhale. Belly, chest, exhale. This is conscious, connected, diaphragmatic breath work. Conscious, meaning that we're aware we're modulating our breath. Connected, meaning we are breathing like that. I just got dizzy from those couple breaths. We are breathing like that for 30 minutes. That's why it's so hard. Conscious, connected, no pauses. Diaphragmatic, we are engaging our diaphragm that lives between our lungs and our belly. Each time we're using the two places, we're pulling it up and down. There are a number of health benefits associated with diaphragmatic breath work. And the fact that most of us aren't doing it, we're missing these benefits that we all have available to us. So it might feel tight because you're not used to it. Just meet yourself where you're at today. And as you do this on a more regular basis, it will get easier. So breathing deep into your belly, up to your chest, and letting it go. You do not want to push the exhale out. If you are somebody who's getting tetany, it can make that worse. So you just let it fall out. If you think about a bow and arrow, it goes belly, chest, exhale. You don't push the bow out. You bring the breath into your belly with the first biggest, and then up to your chest, the last bit all the way full, and then you let it go. A lot of people aren't breathing even fully into their chest. And what happens is our lungs shrink down because they're not expanding all the way, and our ribs shrink down around those lungs because we aren't telling them to take up space. This leads to emphysema and just a hard time breathing in general. So we want to deeply oxygenate our body. There's a lot of research being done that the root of disease is a lack of oxygen. So you want to bring as much oxygen and life force energy back into your body through your breath. So now you have the three parts of your process, guided meditation in, 30 minutes of breathing in your integration. Before your integration and the act after the act of breathing, I'll say on the count of three, everybody grab your pillows, and we're going into a CO2 dump. As you grab your pillow, I'm going to invite you to yell into this pillow and make any noise you need, getting out any energy, any belief that is ready to be released fully. If that doesn't sound good to you, or you're in a place where you can't yell, or I don't know, maybe you just wanna switch it up. You've been doing this long enough that you having a day, it was a really joyful class. Maybe you just wanna go into a breath hold. I recommend that you hold on E, you get all the oxygen out and begin holding your breath as long as possible. We will go into the integration. I'll begin playing music for you to just lay there. Hold your breath as long as possible, and you'll start experiencing your energy and your body on this hold much differently. Maybe you would have liked to have done the CO2 dump and then go into a hold. There are no rules with that. It is your time. But then allow yourself fully after your release or your hold, go into your integration for rest and relaxation, fully committed to what is possibly the most important part of your session, other than the benefits of oxygenating your body and telling your lungs to take up space and using your diaphragm, right? And triggering that altered state of consciousness. This is where all the good downloads come for you, right? Because when I'm telling you, breathe, expand, release, breathe, expand, release, or giving you the affirmations through NLP, because you're going into also a hypersuggestibility state where you are doing a self hypnosis in the state of altered consciousness. You are receiving a self hypnosis, right? But this is when it all comes and it becomes part of you. You will know what you need to take action on. You will know the people that you need to contact. You will know the moves that you need to make, or maybe you just relax. I think that's everything that you need to know to make the most of your session. I look forward to holding this space with you, and I hope to see you at the lives. I hope to see you sharing with me how this practice is changing your life, what it is allowing you to create, what it has allowed you to change. These are powerful sessions, maybe some of the most profound work you will ever do in your life. That is not uncommon to hear. One of my favorites was watching somebody who had resistance to coming. Her friend had been inviting her for a long time. She came to her first session. She didn't really give it her all. She didn't have any breakthroughs. Eventually, maybe 6 months later, maybe longer, she came to her second session and she said, I talked to my dad. And then she said, who had passed and was on the other side, and it was her best friend. And then she said, I just got the business download. I'd paid somebody $25,000 as a business mentor to help me receive, and I never got it. I just received the clarity I was looking for in one session. So you never know what's here, ever. The breath offers you so much healing. So allow yourself to have your experience. Don't judge it. Have fun with it. If you're like me, my first, I don't know how many sessions, I was crying and laughing at the same time, and I didn't realize that was weird until I went to teacher training, and people over me said, "I couldn't tell if you were laughing or crying." I was laughing because I was finally letting out the cries, the tears, the emotions that I never was able to get out, and I was laughing because it felt so good. I was so happy to be finally releasing this. So, whatever your testimony is, whatever your experience is, know that it is okay. But I can't wait to hear it. I can't wait to see you. All right. Be well.